Ramona Shelburne of ESPN had a very lengthy report about Joel Embiid and the Sixers. Quote, he wants to come back in the best shape of his life. That is a goal that he has set. His mentality is he's going to give everything that he has to the Sixers this year. And if that includes trying to help smooth things over with Harden or taking on more of a leadership role, and we saw him inviting a lot of teammates to the wedding and lifting Maxey. She also went on to say Embiid has been in close communication with the Sixers front office and ownership about the plan for the future, and that includes the usage of future cap space, end quote. So how do you guys feel about Embiid taking on kind of new duties and new responsibilities as being the leader of this team? And what do you make of him being in close proximity and communication with the front office about the future?
What do you mean? What am I supposed to mean? I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't understand this question. Was he not the guy before? Like this is new.
That was part of my
like he wasn't like one of the guys that wanted to lead the team.
Marcus and I talked about that yesterday. He's always kind of had. He hasn't been like the most. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
The part that I don't understand is like for a guy that's so vocal and so outgoing, out with everything else. How can he not be vocal in the locker room?
Have you now played with guys like that before? Guys that like kind of thrived off the crowd, but wasn't really like a leader type on the court.
I mean, I'm always one that believes leaders don't have to say they're leading. Just lead. Just keep it amongst your team and go do what you got to do. Like announce it. I never really understood that.
You were always like a lead by example guy, right?
Well, I mean, I lead and yeah, it's things that you say. It's this responsibility that you have to be a part of. Leading the locker room and leading practice and on the bus and when you get in the game and just doing your job and helping people out and putting people in their place. And that was my responsibility. But you can lead it. A lot of people didn't have the responsibilities that I had, but could still lead. Encouraging your teammates, supporting your teammates, being a good teammate in the locker room, and all of those different things that getting guys together. Whatever, someone needs help, you help them out. Like, it's different ways to do it. So I can't imagine that he just now taking that over, like, as if it hasn't been done before. Like, that's the part I'm trying to ask. Like, was he not doing this stuff? Or is it just he's just telling us he's doing this? Because if he has not been doing it, like, I would say that's more of an issue than him starting to do it.
Some of the things you listed, I don't think he was doing before. I don't think he is like I wouldn't say doesn't seem like a supportive. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not saying he doesn't seem like a supportive guy, but he's definitely not like a raw guy by any means. And it didn't look like he was always, I mean, you'd see him grab guys and talk to them, but Joel wasn't always, he definitely wasn't like a let's go out for a team building thing. He's kind of like a more like, I'd say loner type, but not really like a hang out and go party guy. It seems like more of James's thing actually than his. But maybe that's what it sounds like. He is doing those kind of things this year. But I think he should have been doing all this already, right? I'm not saying it should be mandatory for you to be mending fences between a disgruntled teammate and management. That shouldn't be his job.
With someone's contract, that's none of your business. That's between him and the team. Like you stay out of that.
Yes, yeah. But she mentioned the whole James, like putting his arm around James, which is what I interpreted as like fixing or mending and saying let's just do it this year. Try to get him on board for this year type thing. I don't agree with that.
You
don't agree that he should be doing that?
No, I agree that you state that I would love to have James back.
But that's it.
I would love to have James back. I want him to be a part of our team. What James has to do what's best for him.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah, and dividing teammates, you're right. I don't know. Some of the stuff he should have been doing, some of the stuff that
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying that I felt he was, and he just kind of like said it as if he's just not doing it, or he's just not telling us. But I just can't imagine you got your MVP and such a dominant personality and dominant figure in the locker room that they're not getting anything from that.
But you did have guys that you played with that were more like performers and showmen with the crowd, but they didn't. I mean,
AI was like AI. Like it just depends on like how you looked at AI. Like, was he a leader as far as the intangibles of making sure the locker room this and like? Nah, it wasn't AI. But was he a leader as far as getting people to play hard and compete every night? Yes. He led the way with that. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So it kind of depends on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm. AI definitely gave his body for the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So some people that matters more than all the rest of that other stuff.
Yeah.
Are you ready to go when it's time to go, man? That's what some people that's all they I'm looking at that. All the other stuff is minimal to some people. To a guy like Larry Brown, it wasn't. It was very important, very crucial. All the little things, and the intangibles, and doing things the right way, like all that stuff was very, very important to him. I don't know. Nowadays, I mean, I just think you have a guy like Joel that I think he needs to be the guy that's doing everything? No, but I think he needs to have a presence in that locker room that people can come in and say that blueprint has been laid down by the foundation that he's established and be able to follow it as a guide, and it'd be helpful to him and the team.
Yeah. Also, it's like, I don't think any of this shit would matter. We'd be talking about this if we just beat the Celtics, right? Like,
winning people think winning solves everything. Winning just,
numbs it.
Disguise it. Yes, that's what it does.
It's like Advil.
You know how you got that bill that's coming, and you think if you put it at the bottom of the mail that it's gonna go away.
Going away. Yeah.
That bill's still there, buddy.
Yeah. Or it's like taking Advil for anything. It's like it didn't solve your headache. You still didn't drink enough water today, for instance. But it's gone. You don't feel pain anymore. Sure. Like, I just think it's funny how things work in general. Like, if we had beaten Celtics, let's say hypothetical. If we had beaten the Celtics, if we had beaten the Heat, and we lost in the finals, let's say, all these things would still be like relevant, right, and important. If he's not doing these things, then he should be doing these things. But if we win those two series, no one's talking about his to-do list for the offseason, right? It just, I
think they may talk about it, but what they talk about, I think, would be different. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
What they talk about.
It also would depend on.
Yeah, he's when he's going to start back his workout. It would be a different conversation.
Yes.
Because of what they've done. They would have played a month longer or so, if that was the case. So then, you would still have some of these things. You would still have a James issue. You still have a Maxey issue.
Doc would probably still be here, though.
Well, we don't know.
If we went to the finals, you don't think so?
No, we don't know.
Yeah.
Based on the way you and the rest of some of these other Philly fans felt, I don't think it mattered.
I think you would have gotten one more year.
I'm just saying that we didn't win it. They're going to blame somebody, no matter how far we went.
Yeah.
And like we always say, we always talk about it, it depends on how we lost.
Yes, that's also true, too. Like if we got swept in the finals, we still made it there. Yeah. But that's a good example, too. Like, right, like, Jokic might not do everything perfect, but, like, He might not be hanging out with his teammates all the time, but they won. Like, no one's going to be saying Jokic needs to be more of a leader in the locker room and hang out with all of his guys and go party with them and be one of the guys.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand what they're searching for. Like, I think from what I was told and from what I've seen, that they had a close group that wasn't disconnected. You're never really gonna have teammates where everybody does the same thing all the time. Like, it's not realistic.
A lot of personalities.
So I thought they had a close from what I could see.
It looked pretty good.
And from what I was told, it wasn't really disjointed. Now, the only thing I can go, if I want to be more on the negative side,
if
I can pull a Teja,
let's hear it. I'm getting excited.
You can look from the standpoint to say that maybe he could have been, a little selfish, a little more about himself.
Yes, definitely in Game 6 and Game 7. I want a little more fire from him, if anything.
No, I'm saying, in order for him not having all of this stuff that he's talking about, we're talking about that, not necessarily in the game. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
He could have been a little too selfish with all the other stuff outside of playing. So that's what makes a guy say, "Oh, I need to do this or do more," because in the past it was really just about you.
Okay. I see.
Now I'm not assuming that was him, but I'm just saying usually if a guy now this late in the game in his career and he's had so much success there that now decides to do this, it could lead people to think that previously it was all about him.
I wanted an MVP. I finally got it. Now it's the team.
I'm being the negative Teja person.
It could be. Yeah, no. That's why I know exactly what you're talking about, because that's my language. That's my language right there. I think it could definitely be that. Like, he's kind of in his own way saying, I got my MVP. Now it's time to, like, we have to win. Which means all the other times in the past where he said it's all about winning, maybe it wasn't all the way about winning. Maybe it was half about MVP. Speculating, negative. But yeah, I do like that he's on board and communicating with ownership and Morey about future cap space and that kind of stuff in the plan. Having him on the same page, in my mind, is very important. It's very important for future free agents that might want to come here. I do like that. I like knowing that Morey's not going to make any moves based on like fear. He knows Joel will have, has his backing on this, and that's important to me. I like knowing that. Because we are tearing it down, right? It is going to be probably Maxey and Joel and no one else under contract next year, so they better be on board. You're one of two guys under contract next year. I mean, if Paul Reed, maybe, but other than that, that's it, most likely.
Yeah, it's a good thing, dude. It's a good thing as far as fans who were scared that Embiid's going to ask out. I mean, if he's the one kind of working with the Morey and the guys on,
it's quite the opposite
future plans. Yeah.
But we have seen guys say this and then a year or two later be like, "That's it, I'm out of here." So it's good for this year and like the next 2 years, I think.
Mm-hmm. But one other report that she mentioned in there is that he wants to come back in the best shape of his life. If you look at some of the wedding photos and the videos at his wedding, he looks trimmer.
He was getting in wedding shape,
but maybe that's going to carry over to the season. I mean, do you think that's something that he needed to get in better shape going into the year? I mean, I know that has nothing to do with the injuries per se, but I mean, do you think that's something that needed to be done and needed to be addressed? Because in years past, that's been a complaint from some.
He should have been in great shape already.
I mean, I think that more than anything, I think that in shape, people think more endurance. I'm just saying in shape to play the majority of the games and try to be the best fit and the best fit you can be in. to try to stay healthy for a run.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long-term fitness, season-long fitness.
Yeah.
Game restriction also. Missing
Yeah.
games this year.
We'll see. Maybe he wants to go for a back-to-back MVP. I mean, as long as he hits that threshold, what was it, 66 or 67 games? As long as he hits that threshold, I think we're good.
That should not be a goal, but yeah.
No, not at this point.